Welcome to the Big Fat Real Estate Checks podcast with Marco Kozlowski, where we help investors like you get the knowledge and skills you need to replace your JOB with passive cash flow for life.
Hey everyone, welcome to Big Fat Real Estate Checks. My name is Marco Kozlowski and I'm here with Gabriele Ladaish and Francesco Galluccio. And I am in an unusual setting today. I am in Canada, and actually my old room where I grew up. And a lot of weird things happened in this very small room that was eventually renovated the instant I left the house, which was when I was 16 years old and one day. But that's a story for another day. If you're unfamiliar with Big Fat Real Estate Checks, our mission, vision, purpose is to give you as much value as possible, content on how to buy assets using skills, not money. You don't need money to buy assets if you have the right skill sets and understanding of where money comes from, how you can get money for your deals, and how to structure deals correctly to really serve not only the seller and those that have a lot of money by putting those together, but also yourself as a byproduct. And if you have not listened to the first 10 episodes of this podcast, please do. We are like, I don't know, almost at 200 episodes probably by now. Pretty damn close anyway, getting there, creeping along. And I know there's a lot of content to digest, and we do our best to give you fresh, relevant, actionable content. And please subscribe, like us, love us, share us, and do what you got to do to spread the word out, because a lot of people need help, and we love helping people. That's what we're all about. So I think we're going to talk about something that we had a discussion about just a few moments ago as I was landing into Canada, about quicksand mindset, belief in yourself, talking yourself out of doing something or into something and then out of something and then into something and then out of something. So I think there's some definite wisdom that we can all share here with personal stories, what we continue to go through on a daily basis ourselves, even though we've achieved a significant level of success. But we all struggle with this to a point. So I think we labeled this Quicksand based on I think a similar movie that we've seen. Perhaps it's not from that movie, another movie, but it's all good. Gabe, I know you. I think you want to get this started, and let's get going. Talk about quicksand.
So I guess what is quicksand? I think we need to define that first. And I think this is a topic that everyone will relate with. So quicksand is if you don't know what actual physical quicksand is, it's just this pot of sand that once you step into it, it starts sinking, and then you just the more you try and get out, the faster you sink. And we use this as a metaphor here because whenever you have a struggle or whenever you have a negative event happen in your life, you start sinking in the sense that the next thing is negative, and then the next thing is negative, and then before you know it, it feels like you're neck deep, and then you're running out of breath. And this is something that's absolutely normal. And so if you feel this, or if you've been through this, it's definitely something that's going to happen. If it hasn't happened already, I think it's part of life. And I know that I go through it. I've been through it a lot. I still go through it here and there, adapting to the quicksand and understanding yourself and how to get yourself out of that mindset, because it's a mindset issue at the end of the day. It's your thoughts that are making you sink and sink and sink, and even though you feel like you're out of breath, you're not really out of breath. It's just a question of you refocusing and doing this. Now, we can't solve this over a podcast because it's an individualized emotion, and it's something that we just want to bring to light, because whether it's us, whether it's some of the people we work with, whether it's just on an average day talking to friends, we notice that this is something that's a trend. There's a lot of people go through these periods of time where they're going through quicksand, or they're in the quicksand as you speak to them, and you can tell. But how you get out of that quicksand is going to be based on you. It can't be someone else that fixes this. So, but the good news is that unlike real quicksand, if you're in there and you struggle, you really have to figure things out in the moment. This can be a process where you can slowly pull yourself out. And when you do, if there's one recommendation I can give you, is understand over the time of you getting out of this quicksand, what got you out of the quicksand. Because more often than not, when you get back into it, it's just going to be the same mental recipe, and you just have to apply it. So what's going to happen is you're going to go through quicksand. Like I said, we all go through it. You know, Marco, Frank, myself, you know, people more successful than us. I think the difference is how fast you get out of that quicksand mindset and back to operations or whatever it is that you want to do to get successful. That's the real difference between someone who's mastered their mind versus someone who's really still struggling from an emotional intelligence perspective, I guess, to a certain extent. This is totally normal. I go through it. I don't think I'm an expert at that yet, because I go through long periods sometimes, and I'm still figuring out what my recipe is going to be to get out of this quicker and quicker. But as I go through it, it's always shorter, whether it's a day shorter, a week shorter. You know, sometimes it's lasted months for me, and I guess I can only speak for me. And my first episode was actually years until I actually found out what the problem was, and then figured myself out. And then, you know, the more I go through it, the shorter the period is before I get out of it. And that's something that, you know, I have a daughter who's an athlete, and she's, you know, she goes through the motions every day. She skates. She's at the rink every single day. She does things that are mechanical, muscle memory, very, very similar. Every single day is almost a repetition, and yet there are periods of time where she just freezes and forgets how to do most of it. And, you know, we're going through an episode actually as we speak of this, and, you know, had to pull her out of competitions, she has to reset. But the thing is I can't help her with that. I can help her understand that this is something she's got to solve on her own, something that she's got to do an introspection on, because she's got to figure out what it is that's causing this blockage. And nobody but her will know or figure out what that is. And then once that's figured out, usually it'll fix itself, because you know what the problem is. So, and most of the time we use the word I don't know. Like if somebody asks you, well, what's wrong? Well, I don't know. And it's possible that it's true. There's something wrong. You don't know how to verbalize it. You don't know what it is. But I guess the metaphor I gave my daughter, because that's the discussions we have all the time, is, well, imagine you just showed up to me and I'm a doctor, and you say, you know, I'm sick. And I'm like, okay, so now my role as a doctor is to prescribe you something that's going to help you heal. But if you keep telling me, if I tell you what's wrong and you say I don't know, I can't just give you morphine or give you this type of drug or this type of drug, because I could probably kill you, or I can hurt you more than I'm helping you if I give you the wrong thing. So until you verbalize it or you figure it out, that's, you know, it's clear that there can't be any help. So again, I think if I just go back and summarize this portion, it's understand that you're in quicksand, and that it's absolutely normal that you go through all of this. Whether you're a beginner and you're going through a rougher time where it's you know, you've been in this mental state for a long time, or whether you're, you know, a really someone who's gone through it, who's very experienced in going through this period of time and have slowly figured yourself out and still working through it, it is absolutely normal. It's actually, I think it's healthy to a certain extent, because once you do figure things out, it's only going to help you thrive. But that's the first step. The other thing is it's about you. It's always going to be about you. You have to figure. This is one of the only times I think on this podcast will ever tell you that it's about you and that you have to figure it out. But it is. It's you. It's between your ears. A lot of what you do on a daily basis, you're really good at, and you gotta. It's most of it is muscle memory. So if you can't do something anymore, you're having a struggle moving forward in something that you're normally really, you know, capable in, then it's usually a mental thing, and it's in between your ears, and you got to solve what it is that's kind of creating this blockage, if you will. So again, totally normal. It's part of growing, I think, or growth in the mental side. And then once you get out, once you figure things out, or once you slowly figure solutions that are actually helping you move forward, even if it's at a slow pace, then again, remember what those points are. Write them down so that you can go back to them, because inevitably you will end up in quicksand eventually again, and then that'll help you move forward. So I guess that's the message here on quicksand from my perspective. And like I said, I go through it. My daughter's going through it right now. Totally normal. She's been through it in the past. She's gotten out of it. She will get out of this. How long it takes is really the question all the time.
You know, I always have from time to time, like you said, I think it's no one's immune to it. You're gonna run into a runt, or even a little bit of even skepticism on things that you do, doubts in your own mind that you can't be as successful as the next person. And I know that runs through my head a lot of times, even when I start, new projects or new ventures. And, sometimes I throw up my arms a little bit too early in the beginning anyways, and say, this is not possible. It's a lot of work. And you have that doubt in you. But you're right. I used to get anxiety because I'm trying to, when I'm in the quicksand, if we're going to use that metaphor, you try to solve that solution real fast. And because you don't have the answers real quick, you start going more into a spiral downturn, and you actually start, that's the struggle in the quicksand, right? As you said before, when you're struggling in the quicksand, you're actually going deeper quicker, as opposed to strategizing or thinking, okay, I got myself into this, how am I going to get myself out? And that's a process that you got to do, or an exercise that I do. Like, I always have shit hit the fan on certain of my properties or whatever. And I know now, instead of panicking like I used to, and have anxiety and breathing through a paper bag, and being pure white, like pale, I literally sit down and I brainstorm, and I write things on a notepad. What can I do to correct it? What's the remedy? Do I have to correct it right now? Can I park it? Right? Because sometimes I think a lot of things are urgent, but they're not. And sometimes you're the problem. Like you, Gabe, like you said, you actually create more of a suction or quicksand or descent than you really need to. So when you do feel that way, it's sit down or get help. Sometimes I bounce shit off you guys. I think one of the podcasts was, I'm in a dilemma. I got this, I got that. I don't know where to go, and I feel like I can't breathe. So sometimes asking for that help, being humble, and putting your ego aside, getting that help. But like you said, Gabe, you have to fix it. So they can only communicate based on their past experience, what you do, and you got to believe it in your head. And once you do and put a plan of action together, hopefully you can get out quicker than before going deeper down. And
sharing it is important. This is not something you should keep to yourself. Like, share it, because sometimes your counterpart will ask you questions. At least that's how we do things, because I can't solve your problem without asking you questions. And if I ask you questions, I force you to reflect. And that's why I talk to many people about my issues when I'm going through them, because I'm expected to be asked questions. And when they ask me questions, I have to self-reflect. And when I'm giving a response, I got to think this through. And sometimes the solution comes out, or the problem gets, comes to rise while you're answering one of those questions. Because again, when you're in quicksand, all you're thinking about is getting out, because you want to breathe. But meanwhile, there's a rope that's right there to your right, and all you got to do is hold on to it. But if you can't see that if you're focused on your sinking.
Yeah, if you focus on the quicksand, then you're getting more quicksand. If you're focusing on a solution, then you see the solution. And the advantage of having people in your life, like the three of us are constantly communicating. It's very helpful when all three of us, again, I can't speak for Frank and Gabe, but I'm constantly having doubts, which most people find shocking considering, where I'm at in my life. But I'm always thinking, I'm not good enough. I wasn't good enough. I need to do better. I'm not serving enough. I need to do more. I could have done more. I could do more. Why am I so lazy? Why am I sleeping 7 hours a day? I should be sleeping 6 hours a day so I can do more things. Like, there's always this thing churning in your head as to, achieve more, do more, become more. And you can get down on yourself pretty damn quick, and it can be paralyzing. It can be, where's the paper bag, hyperventilation, not in the good kind, but the bad kind. So it's interesting. It really is. And we have a support system within the three of us, and we also have, our partners and our kids, and we've set up. We're very lucky in that we've structured mechanisms around us, but not everyone has that. And the advantage also of those that are enrolled specifically as a student that's listening to this, a mentorship student specifically, if you guys are having quicksand issues, you do need to communicate it, because the more you communicate the issue, the more you talk it out, the more you realize perhaps it's not as big of an issue as you think it is, or this is how you fix it. This is all you have to do is this. And having that feedback and support mechanism, I think is very, very important. And focusing on the quicksand is going to make it worse. And recognizing that you're in quicksand, I think, is the first step. Knowing that you have a problem is apparently the first step of solving any problem. And really seeing, I think the focus has to be, am I focused on the right thing? And what's the objective of what you're actually trying to accomplish? Because if you're focused on the problem, you're going to get more problems. If you focus on what the objective is, I'm doing this so I can, really serve more people. I can help my family. I can do this. So when you, it is all about you, but when you realize what you're doing is really to serve a bigger purpose, it kind of changes the perspective. It's a very interesting dichotomy, because it is all about you because you have to fix yourself, but the less it's about you, the easier it is to get out of it. So I don't know how to explain it better than that.
You can't help others without helping yourself,
exactly.
right? We have the metaphor about
exactly.
It's and the oxygen.
Yes. So it's a dichotomy, right? Because you got to fix yourself so you can help others, but if you don't fix yourself, you can't help others. But the more you want to help others, the more you work on yourself. It's chicken and egg.
Yeah.
It's interesting. But I think talking it out is definitely now that we're talking about it, I think we definitely, I think one is to recognize whatever negative programming, because it's really about negativity, right? The quicksand itself is, I'm doing something, no matter how hard I try or struggle, it's still, I feel like I'm getting worse or nowhere, or I'm just being sucked in. But I think having conversations with people that are better than you, that actually give a shit about you, is very, very helpful, because people that are better than you, that don't give a shit about you, are going to make it worse. But I want to be surrounded by people that have achieved something I haven't, and humbly, as you said, I think both of you said this, just put yourself in a position where it's okay, just please help me. And I think it's going to get a lot easier as time goes on, and as you practice getting out of quicksand. I think that itself is a skill, and it comes with practice, and knowing that it's okay, and being okay that it's okay, and not getting angry or shitting on yourself because you're the only one that's ever had this problem, which is, of course that's true. Not everyone has this problem. And I think if you're open and honest with your support structures, I think it's going to be a lot easier to develop the skill to be able to get out of that quicksand, to really get significant help and progress into the goals that you want to achieve for yourself and your family and others.
Yeah. And you do that by being honest as well. Honest with yourself, honest with others. Because if you're not honest with yourself, then you'll never fix it.
Yeah. True. Well, short and sweet, I think. If this was helpful, I hope it was. Or if you're within my tribe, I know some of you, we had this discussion, some of you are, confused. Or we can give you all the skill sets, all the tools, but if you are doubting yourself, you're never going to use them. So please let us know when this happens. Any gaps in mindset is significant, and we really want to help as much as possible. Or if you're not in the tribe yet, join the tribe so we can help you as well. Because the most successful students, in fact, all of us, myself included, we all have these things happen. And it's how you deal with it that matters. You're not going to be immune to it ever, because I think there's always the inner game that has to be played. And we have to do our best all the time. But it's nice to have people that you're surrounded with that actually care a lot about you. And I think we had an episode about this, where if you were surrounded by people that only did as much as possible for you, how much more you can accomplish if everyone had that mentality and mindset. And it's all about how we can serve others. And if others are also serving you, you get, you're exponentially growing your knowledge, your skill sets, and your ability to really function and service others. So it's very rewarding. And for that, both of you, I appreciate you, because you've been there for me on the ups and the downs and the maybes. And I always want to be there for you guys as well whenever you need it. And that's just how we roll. And I would love to have you as a listener, part of that as well, and have your own system and community of humans that help and support you and get you out of your quicksand when necessary. And it's always going to happen. So good episode, I think. Thanks so much, boys. Again, like us, love us, share us. Send a comment. If there's something that you want us to discuss, please let us know so we can take care of it. And I look forward to seeing all of you on the next episode. Have a great day and crush it. No more quicksand. No more. Well, just get out of it faster. Bye for now. Ah!
If you like this episode of Big Fat Real Estate Checks, then show some love by leaving a comment and a good rating. Also, as a thank you for tuning in today, we've got a special free gift. The journey to passive cash flow for a life starts by finding deals, and it's easier than you think. Simply go to getdealsbytuesday.com, enter your email address, and we'll send you a free quick start course called Deals by Tuesday. Even if it's 11 p.m. Monday night, this course will show you how to find discounted real estate deals by Tuesday. It's that fast and simple. Go to getdealsbytuesday.com and start your journey toward life-changing cash flow today. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.